I declare open the Summit on Climate Change.
Nature is unforgiving, the words of the late environmentalist Wangari Maathai, now more vivid as most parts of the world experience raging flood waters that sweep away everything, causing havoc, rendering the lives of many a misery. And after the floods, it is the drought that follows, again hitting many hard. Hardest hit in all this are those living in the marginal areas who depend on livestock, but who become most culpable owing to the lack of pasture and water. Then the conflict set in, fights over resources, a predicament that is forcing the world to relook at the whole climate change issue. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, is warning that humanity is the cause of climate change. In the quest to get into the middle-income countries and perhaps become industrialized, countries are spewing tons and gigatons of gases into the atmosphere. In the wake of all this, the greenhouse gases have not disappointed. They have literally stripped and shredded the ozone layer. The ozone layer that protects the Earth from ultraviolet rays is receding at dangerous levels. And so, one of the envoys on climate change and former Ghanaian President John Kufuor is rallying the rest of Africa to come to this realization that action is needed and that action must be fast.
The whole world is being rallied for our world's awareness of the threat of climate change. All in New York, 23rd September, Africa, all the presidents are agreed, will be there.
He notes that cyclic droughts and flooding being witnessed in Africa is a pointer to climate change. Africa is at an environmental crossroads.
Eventually, in that situation where we were like a sleeping giant, when the giant is waking up, you might, when you are observing, you think this is slow, but in due course, you see the huge movement that is coming.
Even as he blames poor environmental governance on the state of affairs,
the presidents or the governments are waking up to the reality of the impact of climate change, and the change will come.
He says, even as the world's greatest polluters continue to pollute, Africa must not remain on the fence.
What China is emitting through its huge plants, what our United States is emitting, Europe, then here, we may not have the plants, but through our uninformed agricultural practices, we cause emissions.
Kufuor believes that the heads of state who will be in New York for the Climate Change Summit will this time around append their signatures to the declarations and follow through what they have agreed upon in order to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and prevent the continuing rise in global temperatures.
So they won't be just ready to sign and talk and come back home to do other things. The whole world, I believe, is changing bit by bit. So politicians, I believe, who would have thought just a few years back that
it is a tall order that many have to deal with, yet just a few are the cause of the prevailing state of affairs. For EcoWatch, I'm Judith Akolo.